Hi guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel Pretty in Paper by B, where we are all about sharing the joy of pretty papers. Now today's tutorial is episode 4 of our iris folding flower series, and it is the final episode. So I thought we'd step it up a notch and we'd have a go at one of my more tricky iris folding patterns, and it's the half daisy. So I've got a few samples for you to see of the types of cards you can make using today's tutorial. Now I've put everything you need in the box down below, so gather your supplies, get comfy, and let's get crafting. So as you can see guys, I've got all my supplies out ready to begin. Now the first thing you'll need is the PDF pattern download, which I've cut into the separate pieces ready for today. Now this card template does make a different type of square card that we're not going to be making today, so I'm just going to cut out the half daisy silhouette following the line. Now this piece of card in front of me is exactly 13.3 centimetres squared, and we need to put some marks in the middle. So I'm going to measure 6.65 centimetres in and put a little mark along each of the 4 sides of my square, and then join up the dots I've made with 2 straight lines so I know exactly where the centre of my card is. Once you've drawn your lines, you should have 4 little squares on your piece of card, and where they meet is the middle. Now fold your daisy in half and you will find out where the middle of your daisy is, and line up the straight edge of the silhouette with the straight line in the middle of the card, and the folded line on the daisy with the other line on the card, and then draw around the edge of your daisy. Once you've finished drawing around your half daisy, you're ready to start cutting out the silhouette. So we're going to use that pencil line as a guide for our cutting. So grab your cutting mat and put it underneath the daisy that you've drawn, and grab your craft knife and follow the pencil line closely, keeping your hand behind the blade to cut out the half daisy. Once you've cut out your half daisy, pop the middle out because you won't need that anymore, and you've got your card aperture ready for the folding. So for this next step, you will need the half daisy pattern that's included in the PDF. And you're going to blue tack this to the surface just in the middle of the table, and the blue tack will hold it in place temporarily to stop it moving while we place our paper folds. If you don't have blue tack, you can use something like masking tape. You just need to make sure what you're using is for temporarily sticking something down, and it's not going to ruin the card or the surface. You'll also need a couple of bits of blue tack to stick the aperture down over the pattern that we've placed on the table, so you can see all those lines and numbers through the aperture. Once you've stuck this in place, it's time to choose your 6 pretty papers. I've gone with a rose gold colour scheme today because I thought that would make a nice change. You need to cut your 6 papers into strips of about 2 centimetres wide and cut about 2 strips per pretty paper. Now you'll need the pattern guide, and this tells us exactly where to place each of those pretty papers that we've cut out. So as you can see, I've laid mine out in the order of A, B, C, D, E and F. So I'm going to fold over an edge of about 0.7 millimetres, and this just gives us a nice crisp clean edge on the paper. Now these papers that I'm using are a little bit thicker today, so I'm going to use my scorer to press the edge down, and it'll just make sure that the fold is nice and flat. Now there are 2 number 1s on this daisy pattern, and you need to make sure your strip is long enough to cover both of those number 1s. When that is in place, you can place your strip with the folded edge facing the centre and stick the ends down with a couple of pieces of sticky tape. Once that's in place, you can keep following around your daisy pattern, but note there are 2 numbers in quite a few places on this, and your strip will need to cover both of the numbers. Once you've placed the final strip of your pretty papers, you have finished your iris folding. Now it's time to think about covering the hole in the middle. Now I got out both rose gold and this champagne glitter card for this. And I think I'm going to go with the champagne. I couldn't decide before recording this, so I thought I'd get a couple out. Now you need to cut a piece of card big enough to cover the hole, place it face down and stick in place with a couple of pieces of tape. Once you've done that, you can now turn over your daisy and see all your hard work. It's looking pretty already, right? Now for this next bit, you will need the card template that we used at the start, and you just need to cut a piece of card the same size as this, because when we fold it in half, it will make a square greetings card. Now I've measured this up so that we'll leave a little bit of a border around the edge of the daisy when we stick it on. To stick it on, I'm going to use these foam sticky pads. Now, these are super handy for providing a little bit of a space between the daisy and the card. So I'm going to put these out all around the edge of the daisy and peel the backs off. Now, as you'll see, this daisy is quite thick on mine because I've used thicker papers. So I'm going to add another layer of foam sticky pads on top of the ones I've put down, just to allow for that extra space, and it prevents bulging and a much more clean surface on the card. Now that I have finished peeling the backs off my daisy, I can mount it to the front of my greetings card. And as you can see, we've got a nice card rose gold border around the edge. And we're pretty much done with the iris folding here, guys. Now it's just up to you how you finish the other half of your daisy. So I have made a couple of other of this type of daisy before, so I thought I'd show you some ideas of what you could do. So I've used butterflies on this one, and this one I used a flower petal template from Floral Flair Studios, which I'll put in the description below. But for this one, I thought I'd try something a little bit different. So I'm going to draw a pencil outline around the other half of the daisy. And this will just be a bit of a guide for my next idea. Now that I've got my pencil half daisy line, I'm going to use this cute little floral paper punch to punch out flowers from those papers that we used in the folding, and maybe the glitter card. And then I'm going to use the flowers to fill the other half of the daisy. So I'm going to punch out quite a few of these ready to place. Now I've got them ready, I'm going to fold up the little petals of these flowers, as it would just add a little bit more texture and more dimension to the card that we're making today. And I've got my tweezers handy because my butterfingers are not great with these tiny little flowers. I'm going to put a little bit of a dot of glue on the back of the flower and just place on the other half of the daisy, following that outline, so that it will make a bit of a daisy shape. I'm going to alternate between all the papers that we've used and gradually start to fill this daisy, but leaving a little bit of a gap in the middle because I'm going to do something different for that. Now that I've finally finished placing all my little paper flowers, I'm going to think about what I can do to fill the gap in the middle. Now I've used the bigger flower punches to make some sparkly glittery flowers that I thought would look quite cute in the middle. I think I'm going to need another one in this champagne glitter card. And I'm just going to layer them and fold the petals up again to make a bit more of a 3D centre to the daisy. I really like how the rose gold goes quite nicely with this champagne glitter card. So yep, using a little dot of glue again, and I'm just going to twist it so it's not quite bang on top of the other one, like so. And then the couple of other sizes of flowers I'm going to use to mount on top of this as well, and it will create quite a big 3D mini flower, big mini, if that works, to go in the middle. Once that final centre flower is in place, we are pretty much finished here, and there you have it, your own iris folding half daisy card. So make sure to like and subscribe, guys, if you've enjoyed this video. I'd love to know what you think in the comments, and I'll be back soon for more craft tutorials. See you next time.